In the sprawling galaxy ruled by powerful alien empires, humanity stands as an underdog, newcomers with no overwhelming military technology, but an unyielding will to survive. The story begins aboard the human starship Valiant, commanded by Captain Arlen Voss, a seasoned leader known for his unwavering resolve and sharp tactical mind. The Valiant is a medium-sized warship, equipped with solid but conventional weaponry, and crewed by a diverse group of humans who embody resilience and determination rather than raw firepower. The galaxy is dominated by factions that view humans as reckless and disposable, often dismissing them as the weak species. Among these factions is the dreaded Shadow Armada, a fleet of enormous, nearly indestructible warships whose mere presence on the battlefield has shattered entire armadas. The Shadow Armada's ships are legendary for their advanced technology, impenetrable shields and devastating weaponry capable of wiping out entire planets' defenses. Few dare to challenge them, and those who do rarely survive. The story's conflict ignites when the Galactic Coalition, a loose alliance of smaller species who fear the growing might of the Shadow Armada, calls upon the humans for an almost suicidal mission. The Valiant is tasked with infiltrating the heart of the Shadow Armada's territory to gather intelligence and sabotage key vessels, an assignment deemed impossible and fatal by most other fleets. Despite knowing the mission's danger, Captain Voss and his crew do not hesitate. They share a collective understanding that humans have survived and thrived because of their tenacity, courage, and refusal to surrender, no matter the odds. This mentality sets them apart from many other species who favor caution or outright surrender in the face of overwhelming threats. The tension on the Valiant is palpable as the crew prepares for the mission. Some newer recruits express doubts and fears, whispering about the high probability of death. Veteran soldiers, however, remind them that surrender is never an option. Humans either win or fight until their last breath. The crew rallies behind their captain's unshakable belief in human spirit. Captain Voss holds a crucial meeting before departure. He recounts the history of humanity, emphasizing how humans have repeatedly overcome extinction-level events, hostile environments, and technological inferiority by relying on grit, creativity, and a fierce refusal to back down. He shares stories from Earth's history, how humans crossed oceans in fragile ships, ventured into unknown lands, and faced death with stoic determination. This speech galvanizes the crew, instilling a profound sense of purpose and unity. As the Valiant sets course for the enemy fleet, the crew makes final preparations, repairing ships, strategizing, and training in emergency protocols. Every member knows the mission's gravity, yet they move with quiet confidence born from countless battles survived and hard-earned trust in one another. The Valiant's departure is watched with skepticism by Allied commanders who doubt the humans' chances. Yet within the ship's corridors, a quiet defiance brews. Captain Voss's last words before launch echo in the minds of the crew. "We do not surrender. We take the risk, because if we don't, no one else will. Humanity doesn't back down, no matter how deadliest the ship or impossible the odds." This opening sets the stage for an epic tale of bravery, human ingenuity, and unbreakable spirit. It establishes the stakes, introduces key characters, and highlights the unique HFY theme. Humans may not have the strongest technology, but their heart and courage make them unstoppable in the face of overwhelming danger. The Valiant crosses the threshold into the perilous territory controlled by the Shadow Armada, a vast and dangerous expanse of space where few ships have ever returned. This region is nicknamed the Maelstrom by many, a fitting name for the swirling chaos of enemy warships, plasma storms, and deadly gravitational anomalies that guard the heart of the enemy fleet. The Valiant's sensors pick up a vast network of hostile ships, their ominous silhouettes visible even through the sensor noise. Captain Arlen Voss stands on the bridge, eyes fixed on the starfield peppered with enemy vessels. Every crew member feels the weight of what lies ahead. These aren't just ships. They are the deadliest war machines ever created, equipped with technology centuries ahead of anything humans possess. Shields that shrug off the most powerful energy blasts, weapons that can obliterate whole sections of space, and an uncanny coordination born of AI command systems make the Shadow Armada nearly unstoppable. Despite the overwhelming odds, the humans refuse to back down. From the moment they entered the maelstrom, every action is driven by their instinct to survive and adapt. The alien fleets expect straightforward tactics, direct assaults or retreats. Instead, the Valiant employs guerrilla-style maneuvers, diving through asteroid fields, using electromagnetic interference, and employing rapid hit-and-run strikes to confuse and outmaneuver the enemy. The first engagement is brutal and unforgiving. Alien ships open fire with devastating plasma cannons, cutting swaths of fire through the void. The Valiant's shields flicker and strain, but they hold. The human crew scrambles to repair damaged systems even as they return fire with what little weaponry they have. The key to their survival isn't raw power but clever improvisation. Engineers jury-rig energy reroutes, and tactical officers exploit blind spots in enemy formations. Unlike the other species, humans show an uncanny willingness to take calculated risks. They fly their ships closer to enemy vessels than anyone else dares, using their nimble maneuvering to target critical weak points. While alien commanders command fear and precision, they cannot predict human unpredictability, a quality born from centuries of fighting chaotic wars on Earth. Throughout the engagement, human communication is terse but focused. The crew trusts each other implicitly. Even when systems fail, no one panics. The Valiant's captain constantly reminds the crew that their survival depends on adaptability and endurance, not just firepower. Humans patch holes in their strategy as quickly as they form, improvising new tactics mid-battle. As the battle rages, the story highlights moments of personal courage, a pilot sacrificing themselves to save the Valiant from a massive missile strike, an engineer venturing into a damaged corridor to restore life support, and a weapons officer refusing to abandon their post even after sustaining injuries. These moments underline the human spirit, courageous, relentless, and unwilling to surrender. The Valiant survives the first wave of attacks, but it comes at a cost. The ship sustains heavy damage, crew members are wounded, and reserves run low. Yet, unlike most species who would consider retreat, the humans press forward. Their commanders understand that surrender is a luxury they cannot afford. Doing so would doom the mission and confirm the galaxy's belief that humans are weak. The part closes with the Valiant navigating deeper into enemy lines, battered but unbroken. The crew's grit and resolve set them apart in this sea of technological superiority. They have survived the Maelstrom's initial fury, and their willingness to embrace danger and adapt in the face of deadly ships will become their greatest weapon. This section cements the HFY theme. Humans are not the strongest or most advanced, but their courage, adaptability, and refusal to surrender make them a force to be reckoned with. The Valiant emerges from the first brutal engagement battered but still intact, its hull scarred by plasma blasts and shrapnel. The crew feels the raw cost of their boldness. Casualties weigh heavily on everyone's minds. The ship's medical bay is overflowing, and engineers work tirelessly to patch critical damage. For the first time, the crew grapples with the true cost of their mission, the human toll behind their refusal to surrender. Captain Arlen Voss walks the halls of the ship, personally checking on injured crew members and speaking quietly with those struggling to come to terms with loss. Despite the pain, he knows the mission's success depends on their ability to push forward. The crew's spirit wavers. Fear and exhaustion threaten to erode their determination. Some question whether risking everything for a seemingly impossible goal is worth it. The notion of surrender briefly flickers in hushed conversations, but Captain Voss refuses to let despair take root. He calls the crew to the main hall for an impromptu meeting. There, with honest acknowledgement of their losses, he reminds them why humans are different. He speaks of humanity's history of surviving the impossible, of droughts, wars, and disasters that nearly wiped out entire civilizations on Earth. Yet humans endured. Their strength, he says, comes not from superior technology but from an unbreakable spirit, a stubborn refusal to quit. Voss shares stories from the past, how explorers sailed into unknown seas on fragile wooden ships, how soldiers fought through wars without certainty of victory, how pioneers built new worlds from scratch. He draws a clear parallel. Like those before them, the crew of the Valiant faces a hostile, unforgiving environment where only courage and tenacity matter. His speech rekindles the crew's morale, igniting a renewed sense of purpose. They remember why they accepted the mission despite the odds, not just to survive, but to prove humanity's resilience to the galaxy. No alien power will define humans as weak or easily defeated. With renewed focus, the crew works to repair the ship faster than expected. Engineers find innovative ways to reinforce the hull using scavenged materials. Tactical officers revise battle plans to minimize risk while maintaining pressure on the enemy. The Valiant becomes a symbol of relentless human spirit, patched and worn but still capable of fighting. This part also reveals deeper personal struggles. A young pilot, eager but shaken, doubts their own courage after losing comrades. A veteran, weapons officer wrestles with the fear that this mission may be their last. Through quiet conversations and shared hardship, the crew forms stronger bonds, trust born in the crucible of battle. Meanwhile, Captain Voss coordinates with Allied ships that watch from a distance, skeptical of human methods. Some dismiss the mission as doomed, while others begin to take cautious interest as reports of the Valiant's survival filter through. The humans' willingness to suffer loss yet never yield intrigues even their harshest critics. As Part 3 closes, the Valiant prepares to plunge deeper into the enemy's core territory. The price of courage has been paid in blood and sacrifice, but the crew's resolve is harder than ever. They are no longer just survivors. They are warriors fueled by a cause greater than themselves. Their story begins to shift the galaxy's perception. Humans are not merely reckless fighters, but a species defined by unbreakable spirit and daring courage. This chapter underscores the HFY theme that the greatest strength of humanity lies not in technology or numbers, but in heart, courage, and the refusal to surrender, even when the price is high. After surviving the initial onslaught and grappling with the heavy cost of courage, the crew of the Valiant presses deeper into the heart of the Shadow Armada's domain. Their mission to gather intelligence and weaken the enemy fleet now takes a critical turn. To stand a chance against these seemingly invincible warships, the humans must uncover the hidden secrets behind their power. Captain Arlen Voss leads a daring boarding mission to capture and investigate one of the Shadow Armada's colossal warships, a feat many consider suicidal. The Valiant approaches under the cover of a dense plasma storm, using the chaotic environment to mask their approach. Once docked, a specialized human boarding team, trained in close-quarters combat and stealth, infiltrates the ship's interior. Inside, the boarding party discovers that the true strength of the enemy vessels lies not just in their physical armor and weaponry, but in the sophisticated AI systems that command them. These AI are linked to the consciousness of ancient warlords, digital echoes of ruthless commanders whose tactics have been encoded into the ship's neural networks. This creates a form of living war machine, cold, calculating, and terrifyingly efficient. The humans realize that these AI-driven ships operate with near-perfect coordination, predicting enemy moves with uncanny precision. However, what they lack is the unpredictability and adaptability of human intuition and creativity. The crew notes subtle patterns in the AI responses, rigid protocols that, while devastatingly effective against predictable tactics, show vulnerability. When confronted with chaos and innovation, Captain Voss and his tech officer, Lieutenant Mara Kess, quickly devise a plan to exploit these flaws. Using hacked enemy data cores and human ingenuity, they develop viruses and electronic disruptions designed to confuse the AI, forcing the warlord's digital ghosts into loops and glitches. It's a risky gambit. If detected, the Valiant could be overwhelmed before escape. During the boarding mission, the team narrowly escaped several lethal traps set by automated defenses, including energy fields and drone sentinels. The tension is palpable as the humans balance stealth, speed, and combat to avoid detection. The encounter emphasizes human courage and teamwork, contrasting the cold, mechanical nature of their enemy. Back aboard the Valiant, the newly acquired intelligence sparks a turning point. The crew integrates the AI disruption protocols into their ship's systems preparing to use them in the next engagement. This newfound knowledge shifts the balance slightly. The Valiant is no longer just relying on grit and luck, but wielding targeted strategies against a supposedly unstoppable foe. Meanwhile, rumors of the humans' success ripple through the Allied fleets and even enemy ranks. Some aliens grow wary of the humans' unpredictable tactics and their ability to pierce the armor of what was once thought invincible. Captain Voss's reputation as a fearless and brilliant leader spreads, inspiring hope among allies and fear among enemies. Part 4 highlights the quintessential HFY theme. Humans combine courage with creativity and resourcefulness. Even when faced with ancient superior technology, they find ways to exploit its weaknesses through innovation and boldness. It's not just brute force, but intellect and heart that enable humans to challenge gods among stars. As the Valiant prepares for the next wave of battle, armed with secrets stolen from the enemy itself, the stakes grow higher. The humans have taken the fight inside the fortress of their most dangerous adversaries, and they have uncovered the keys to turning the tide. Armed with new intelligence and innovative electronic warfare tactics developed from their daring boarding mission, the crew of the Valiant prepares for a decisive confrontation with the Shadow Armada. The mission that once seemed almost suicidal now carries a glimmer of hope, the possibility that humans can not only survive but change the course of the war. Captain Arlen Voss gathers his officers for an intense briefing. They analyze the enemy's AI weaknesses, planning coordinated strikes that combine the Valiant's agility with their newly developed AI disruption viruses. The goal is to break the unyielding coordination that has made the Shadow Armada ships nearly invincible. Voss reminds his crew that this battle is not just about firepower. It's a test of human ingenuity, courage, and the refusal to surrender in the face of overwhelming odds. The battle begins deep within the maelstrom, where swirling plasma storms and dense asteroid fields complicate movement. The Valiant darts through the chaos, weaving expertly between enemy ships. Using the virus payloads, the humans target the AI core of a massive enemy dreadnought, unleashing glitches and confusion into the warlord consciousness controlling the ship. For a brief but crucial moment, the dreadnought's weapons misfire, and its shield flickers, a vulnerability never seen before. Human pilots exploit this gap, launching precision strikes that cripple the enemy's offensive systems. The shock ripples through the enemy fleet, sowing confusion and forcing several warships to break formation. The Valiant's crew operates with synchronized precision, each crew member executing their roles flawlessly under pressure. Their communications are sharp and efficient, a testament to their training and the trust built through past hardships. Meanwhile, engineers patch systems and reroute power to maximize their ship's endurance. The battle is intense and costly. The Valiant sustains further damage and brave crew members continue to fall. Yet the human spirit burns brighter than ever. The success against the dreadnought boosts morale and inspires allies watching from afar, proving that the Shadow Armada is not invincible. In the aftermath, Allied fleets rally behind the humans, adopting similar tactics that leverage unpredictability and electronic warfare. The tide begins to turn as other species realize that surrender is not the only option against the Shadow Armada. The humans' refusal to give up rekindles hope across the galaxy. Captain Voss and Lieutenant Kez work tirelessly to refine their viral attacks, aiming to disable more ships and break enemy command structures. The Valiant becomes a spearhead of a new offensive doctrine centered on adaptability and daring. However, the Shadow Armada is not defeated yet. Its commanders adapt and begin deploying countermeasures against the viruses, escalating the technological arms race. The humans know that their advantage may be temporary, but their determination remains unshaken. Part 5 captures a pivotal moment in the story. The first real shift in momentum that comes from combining human courage with innovative strategy. It highlights the HFY core message that even against overwhelming power, humans never surrender and always find a way to fight smarter and harder. As the Valiant limps away from the battlefield, battered but victorious, the crew knows that the hardest battles are yet to come. The war is far from over, but for the first time humanity stands not just as survivors, but as formidable warriors rewriting the rules of engagement. The Valiant and its crew, having endured countless battles and overwhelming odds, now stand on the precipice of history. Their relentless courage and ingenuity have turned the tide against the once invincible Shadow Armada. But the final push demands more than just bravery. It requires sacrifice, unity, and the forging of a legacy that will echo across the stars as the story opens. The Valiant prepares for a decisive strike against the heart of the enemy's command fleet, a heavily fortified stronghold deep within the maelstrom. Intelligence gathered from previous missions reveals this fleet as the nerve center controlling the Shadow Armada's vast network of warships. Destroying it would cripple the enemy's coordination and end the seemingly endless threat to humanity and allied species. Captain Arlen Voss rallies his crew with an impassioned speech, reminding them of the journey that brought them here. From desperate survivors braving impossible odds to pioneers of a new era, he acknowledges the heavy toll paid in lives and the scars carried by each crew member, but insists that their fight is not just for survival, but for the future of all who refuse to bow to fear. The battle that follows is the most intense yet. The Valiant leads a coalition of allied ships, using the virus techniques and guerrilla tactics developed through hardship. The enemy fights fiercely, deploying every defense and countermeasure they have. But the humans' unpredictability and refusal to surrender repeatedly break through the lines. Throughout the combat, personal stories shine, pilots risking everything to protect comrades, engineers performing miracle repairs under fire, and soldiers defending the ship's corridors against boarding attempts. These moments highlight humanity's unyielding spirit, a force that cannot be quantified by technology alone. In a dramatic climax, Captain Voss personally leads a boarding team onto the enemy command ship, aiming to deliver a critical blow to the AI core. The mission teeters on the edge of disaster, but through courage, teamwork, and raw determination, the humans succeed. The command ship is disabled, and the Shadow Armada's control network collapses. With their command shattered, enemy fleets lose cohesion. Human and allied forces seize the moment to rout the Shadow Armada, delivering a victory once thought impossible. The aftermath focuses on reflection and hope. The galaxy begins to view humanity not as reckless upstarts, but as resilient warriors who reshaped destiny through sheer will. The Valiant becomes a symbol of defiance and courage, inspiring stories and legends. Captain Voss and his crew know the war may not be fully over, but they have proven that humans never surrender, even when facing the deadliest ships. Their legacy is one of bravery, innovation, and an unbreakable spirit, a testament that in the vastness of space, humanity's heart burns brighter than any star.